When I was 15 years old, I received an Earthwatch Ignite fellowship to travel to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and study songbirds in the Grand Tetons. As a young, first generation, low income Latina growing up in the outskirts of LA, I was absolutely blown away by everything I experienced in those 2 weeks. I often say that it almost feels like I didn't know that birds existed before this experience. My time in Wyoming brought a lot of firsts for me. My first time hiking, holding a snake, meeting a scientist, and the first time someone told me to pay attention to birds. After this expedition, my heart was captivated by birds. When I went back to LA, I didn't have people I could turn to help cultivate and grow what would become a deep love. Through my years in undergrad at Stanford, I slowly collected new moments that made me realize how big my passion for birds could be. Whether that was helping a classmate set up a bird banding station, meeting PhD students who asked bird questions that excited me, or getting to hold a hummingbird for the first time. Each moment made me feel an innate happiness that I wasn't sure what to make of. Despite these experiences, it always felt like studying birds was something that other people, and not me, got to do. As I sat in my first ornithology class during my last quarter at Stanford, I finally felt the feeling of excitement I had been searching for throughout all of undergrad. In class, I asked every question that came to mind because I felt an insatiable desire to learn as much as possible about avian evolution, ecology, and conservation. My undergrad years were quite tumultuous, and I had learned to withhold my questions so I wouldn't sound dumb. The fact that I had no hesitation to ask questions about birds felt like the universe was telling me to take a leap of faith on myself and my interests. That's when I decided that what I felt for birds was not only a deep love, but an intellectual curiosity that I wanted to pursue in graduate school. Now, I'm a first-year PhD student at Tulane University in the Caribbean Lab. I'm broadly interested in studying bird-mediated ecosystem services and how they respond to various stressors like climate change and deforestation. More specifically, I'm interested in studying pollination through the lens of hummingbirds. I want to understand the genetic and behavioral mechanisms at play in pollination to better understand how ecological communities recover from disturbance. My research will inform conservation strategies and management practices like reforestation projects throughout the tropics. I conduct my work in northwestern Ecuador with FCAT, Fundación para la Conservación de los Andes Tropicales, a nonprofit which partners with local communities in our research areas. It's hard to describe what it feels like to hold the hummingbird's entire life in your hand. When I'm out in the field and doing bird research, I feel like my most intelligent, curious, passionate, and authentic self. All things I worried I would never feel again after undergrad. There's an extra specialness that comes from training to be an ornithologist in both Spanish and English. Someone once told me, Judith, you can't tell people you want to study hummingbirds because you think they're cool. Caring about your work is almost seen as a sin in academic spaces. I'm grateful that my PhD advisor told me that loving hummingbirds is enough of a reason to focus my research on them. Recently, I had the privilege of speaking with Drew Lanham, who's an incredible Black ornithologist, birder, and poet. He spoke of the importance of emotionally investing in all of your work. It is our hearts that guide us and keep us going when the work is inevitably challenging and disheartening. It is our curiosity for the natural world that pulls us into scientific fields, and our care for birds, ecosystems, and people that make us conservationists. The work is meaningless without our passion. As I shared my birding journey with him, he was grateful that someone instilled in me the idea that love is enough. When I decided to go to graduate school, I told my advisor that I was not willing to sacrifice my core values for my science. My work is grounded in education, community-based conservation, and environmental justice. To me, this looks like mentoring Tulane undergraduates through their first fieldwork experiences, working with local communities in Ecuador to create sustainable conservation solutions, or volunteering to teach local New Orleans students about pollination. The more that I've leaned into becoming a hummingbird lady, the more that I have felt like my full and authentic self. Birding, becoming an ornithologist/ecologist in grad school are all deeply emotional journeys. I want everyone to feel like they can bring their whole selves into these spaces. I hope that by loudly and unapologetically bringing my identities, experiences, and passion to my work can make others feel like it is safe to do the same. I hope that one day I can show every person that I love how to hold a hummingbird and see the look on their faces as they get a glimpse into what I feel every day.